So there's been a lot of commentary about Jayson Tatum, and Jayson Tatum is only 26 years old. He's already an NBA champion, already been a first-team All-NBA player, and here's the thing about Jayson Tatum. I think what is going to separate him from his peers is potentially his resume in terms of winning. Because here's the thing. Jayson Tatum doesn't have the skill set of a Stephen Curry where he's an elite shooter. He's not Anthony Edwards, where Anthony Edwards is a once-in-a-generation type athlete. I've said Anthony Edwards compares to Michael Jordan in terms of his dunking and leaping ability, in terms of his ability to explode above the rim. He's Michael Jordan-esque in that regard. Even a guy like Victor Wembanyama. Victor can handle the basketball at times like a point guard. Not quite, maybe, but he's pretty decent with his handles. And the guy is, 7'5"? Has elite defensive capabilities. Like, Jayson Tatum just doesn't have that. But what's going to separate Tatum potentially is he's potentially going to be looked at as the guy in his era that wins a ton if he continues to stack up championships. And he has the potential to do that because he's a good player and because Boston is going to put him in a good position to succeed more years than not. He has an advantage. He plays for arguably the number one brand in all basketball. There's a reason why they're NBA champions right now. But here's the thing. In the past, I called Jayson Tatum overrated and said he's not a top 5 player in the NBA and that he's not an elite level superstar. And I think some of those critiques were fair. If you were to argue otherwise, there is an argument to be made that I was maybe missing something with Jayson Tatum. But here's the thing. When I looked at Jayson Tatum, I said, man, elite level superstar? Did you see him in his first NBA Finals versus the Golden State Warriors? I mean, the guy was shooting 36% from the field and had a bunch of turnovers. That's not an elite level superstar. That's not what it looks like to me. And even in these playoffs, on the way to the championship, we got to give him credit for the games he played well in. But there was at least a 7-game stretch where he was in a legitimate shooting slump. And in the NBA Finals, he really didn't shoot it all that well either. So you're like, man, elite level superstars, the Kevin Durant's of the world, the LeBron James of the world, they don't go through 8-game stretches where they're in a legitimate bad shooting slump. So I think I'm still right about Tatum not being an elite level superstar. But regardless, it no longer matters if Jayson Tatum is an elite level superstar in terms of at least him playing for the Boston Celtics. Because here's the thing. The Boston Celtics won the championship with Jayson Tatum being featured potentially as the guy. It no longer matters. These conversations of, what is Jayson Tatum? Is he ever going to be the best player in the world? They're irrelevant now because Boston won the championship. It does not matter. It's kind of I wouldn't put Jayson Tatum in an all-time great category, but this is a little mini example. David Ortiz. Everyone talks about, David Ortiz, he never played defense. It doesn't matter. He won a bunch of championships with the Boston Red Sox. He smacked a bunch of home runs. I'm good. I don't need David Ortiz to play elite defense. I don't need Jayson Tatum to be the best player in the world. I just won a championship. It was the same thing with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Everyone said, Giannis is not all that skilled. And some of it was a fair critique, but once Giannis won the championship, it's like, his weaknesses no longer matter. Lamar Jackson, 2-time league MVP in the NFL, has some glaring weaknesses to his game, but it really doesn't matter because Baltimore wins a shit ton of games, and Lamar Jackson is awesome, 2-time league MVP. Even people talk about Russell Wilson still to this day. Russell Wilson, he's like 5'10", he's a little too short. Russell Wilson is a Super Bowl champion, okay? It doesn't matter because he got it done when it mattered the most in his prime. And the one thing I can respect about Jayson Tatum in these past NBA Finals versus the Dallas Mavericks is that when his shot wasn't falling, when he wasn't shooting at a high percentage, he was still finding ways to contribute to winning basketball games. He was rebounding at a high level. He was hustling back and forth on defense, defending at a high level, getting loose balls, setting screens for his teammates, being self-aware, motivating his team, kind of being a little bit of a vocal guy at times when he needed to be. Tatum, even though his shot wasn't quite falling in the NBA Finals, he still found a way to contribute to winning. And the scary thing for Jayson Tatum that no one's really seeming to talk about is that he won a championship recently on a team where he didn't perform his best. Like, at times, Boston was succeeding in spite of his shooting, slump, But Tatum, you look at him and you're like, okay, only 26 years old, seems to at least probably have at least another good 5-year run left in him, maybe 5, 6, 7 more good years of Jayson Tatum. We'll see. This could be a motivating factor for him where it's like, okay, I didn't win the finals MVP. I didn't perform my best in the NBA finals. I still want to be in the best player in the league conversation. Let's take it up another level. And if Jayson Tatum plays like a top 3 player in the NBA, then Boston can repeat as champions and even shoot up to new heights. I don't think Boston, led by Tatum and Jaylen Brown, I don't think they're an all-time great team, but maybe they could prove me wrong. So all I'm saying is when it comes to Jayson Tatum, a lot of the commentary about him is kind of silly at this point. Like, there's no more reason to talk about other than ranking all-time great players. There's no point of discussing, is Jayson Tatum an elite-level superstar? It no longer matters for all the reasons that I mentioned. Congratulations, Jayson Tatum. You're an NBA champion, and I'm excited to see where he takes his career going forward.